It is now the 49th day of Donald Trump's war with Iran. And let's be honest, it's a little hard to figure out what's going on right now. Is the strait open? Is it closed? Kind of depends on who you ask and what time you ask them. President Trump has been celebrating its reopening all day. And earlier today, Tehran's foreign minister announced, quote, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of ceasefire, which expires next week. However, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard was quick to say that the shipping route would still be under heavy Iranian supervision. Still, Donald Trump touted the strait's reopening at a Turning Point USA event. Watch this.
Iran has just announced that the Strait of Hormuz is fully open and ready for business and full passage. This process should go very quickly, and that most of the points are already negotiated and agreed to. And most importantly, it never agreed, and you'll understand, they will never have a nuclear weapon.
The news caused the markets to surge and oil prices to drop. We'll talk more about that later in the show. But there are still obstacles to creating a lasting peace. One immediate issue is that Trump posted on social media that the U.S. naval blockade will remain in place, quote, until such time as our transaction with Iran is 100% complete. A source warned via Iranian state media that, quote, if the naval blockade continues, it will be considered a violation of the ceasefire and the passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be prevented. An Iran Speaker of Parliament posted on social media that, quote, with the continuation of the blockade, the Strait of Hormuz will not remain open. Yes, I am having trouble following, too, if that makes you feel any better. As negotiations progress, the New York Times points out, quote, even if the sides can reach an agreement in theory, it remains unclear how they can overcome the extreme mistrust between them and commit to action. Mr. Trump has depicted Iran's leaders as crazy and lunatics. Iranian officials say that Mr. Trump has repeatedly burned them, and some say it would be folly to trust his word. With that, let's bring in our nightcap tonight. David Rohde, MS Now senior national security reporter, Ron Insana, veteran financial journalist and publisher of The Message of the Markets on Substack, Philip Bump, senior data editor and columnist for CT Insider, and Anthony Fisher, senior editor for MS Now Daily. So, David, I feel like this should be an easy question. Is the strait open or closed?
I would say it is temporarily open.
Okay.
And what this is all about, there was progress. So the ceasefire in Lebanon starts the progress. But that's a 10-day ceasefire. And as you read, the announcement from the Iranian foreign minister says, in light of the Lebanon ceasefire, and then subsequently Iranian officials have said this, if fighting starts again in Lebanon, the strait will be closed. And then there was just the Speaker of the Iranian parliament said 7 false statements. I mean, I was just watching the president all day, and I was stunned by it. He said in one interview there'll be a deal within the next day or two. That's false. As far as I know, there's no direct negotiations going around.
Okay.
He's saying that Iran has agreed to suspend its nuclear program forever. No Iranian confirmation on any of that. Iran has agreed to remove mines together from the Strait of Hormuz with U.S. forces. Unlikely, not true. And then also that the U.S. is going to get all of Iran's enriched uranium, and Iranian troops and American troops are going to dig it out together, and then it's all going to be flown back to the U.S. No
hand in hand, cats and dogs are going to be friends. Yeah.
Nuclear dust, correct?
That Iran, yes, and that Iran has agreed to stop backing its proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah. Again, I don't quite know where that's coming from. And then there is one thing, and that's more. He's saying that there was reports this morning from Axios that they're talking about some of the frozen Iranian assets. This is Iranian money that is theirs. Obama gave some of it back in the previous nuclear deal, and Trump criticized that. But there's talk about maybe part of this new deal is that $20 billion in frozen assets will go back to Iran. That sounds like part of a deal. There are the outlines of a deal here. But the president said, no, that's not true. We are not paying 10 cents to Iran as part of this peace agreement.
I mean, it could be true if we're unfreezing their assets rather than paying them.
He did use the word transaction, though,
yes,
didn't he?
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
That would imply a deal.
That would imply something, the art of the deal for something. So, Anthony, I think my question about all of this is, if, as David points out, we cannot trust the U.S. president to be credible, I know, shocker, about these negotiations, who can we trust as a source? Because it seems a little bit suspect to maybe rely too much on the Iranian government to give an accurate portrayal of what's going on.
That is quite a question, and I guess all we could trust is our eyes. I guess
okay.
as events unfold, as these negotiations do take place, as the new Iranian regime kind of reveals itself, like the new Ayatollah hasn't been seen in public. There is squabbling among the Revolutionary Guard and Parliament, as David just laid out. There's a lot of different voices saying a lot of different things, and the president is saying a lot of different things. So until we see some actionable evidence of anything happening, I don't know that we should really be putting too much faith in either party.
You know what I find interesting and disturbing is that there's this active stenography that's taking place in Washington. It's literally, I just got off the phone with the president and he told me X. And that becomes news. That moves markets. There's no attempt, certainly, and I'm not including our group on this, but there are some, you named one of them, news organizations, as it were, that just literally parrot whatever the president says. There's no follow-up. There's no calling any Iranian official, any UN official, any official in any capacity to determine whether or not what the president is saying has any merit whatsoever. And that has been moving markets. We are surfing headlines every single day. And it seems to me that, part of that is from a journalistic perspective, irresponsible, and it's wildly misleading, as David just pointed out, with respect to where we are in this process.
I mean, in fairness, it seems like it is hard to, truth squad, stress test some of these statements with the Iranian government. No.
Yes. Oh, I don't believe the Iranians or be skeptical of the Iranians and be skeptical of the President of the United States. I want to be respectful here. The one thing to watch is watching how many tankers are coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. These are friendly tankers from Kuwait or the UAE. There's been 200 of them stuck there. So if the strait is open and ship owners and ship insurance companies feel that they're going to be safe, count those tankers. And so far, there's been 5 to 10 a day. Mm-hmm. And normally
24 get turned back today by the U.S. Navy?
Yes, those would have links to Iran, but and they're going to keep stopping those. But it's those friendly tankers that we want to go out of the strait. We want to bring down global oil prices, but it looks like 5 to 10 a day. It was more than 130 a day before the war started. So that's the measure, is seeing those ships move through the strait and
not the tweets or whatever, not the Truth Social posts.
The tweets and counter tweets.
Tweets and counter tweets and quotes to one news outlet and countervailing quotes to another news outlet. Philip, an Iran expert told the New York Times that the Trump administration's diplomatic track record shows little skill at nailing down the fine points of complicated negotiations. I don't even know what the question is, I guess.
Does that sound plausible? Yes.
Is it plausible that they can nail down actually fine points of negotiations here? Because it does. Well, it seems like beyond the headlines about will they extract the uranium, will they agree, for example, not to enrich uranium? Will they extract the uranium? There are also problems about enforcement mechanisms, for example. So how plausible, I guess, is it that we could come to some sort of enforceable agreement that actually, buttons up all of those details?
Well, let me bring you back to the halcyon days of January 20th of 2017 at 11:59 a.m., at which point there was a deal in place with Iran to prevent their building nuclear weapons, in which there was an agreement in which they had agreed with the United States of America, not with President Barack Obama, with the United States, and took the United States at its word that this was going to be something that they were going to be able to stand by. Then what happened is Donald Trump went to Venezuela and captured Nicolas Maduro and felt chuffed up and was like, let's go after Iran as well, and went into war without having a sense of what it was that he wanted to accomplish. I mean, everything that they are saying now they want to get, everything you heard people applauding at that turning point thing, all of that was in place on January 20th at 11:59 a.m. in 2017. It is not in place anymore. They are cheering for what already existed. And yes, of course, it is absolutely fair, to David's point, that we should be skeptical that the Iranians will uphold their end of any deal. But we could have been more confident that they were going to do that when we were upholding our end of the deal as well, which already happened until Donald Trump decided we shouldn't.